That's why I say dream state and waking state, fundamentally the same basic thing. Notice it's all happening in you as consciousness. Now with the dream state, that's pretty easy for most people to acknowledge, because when they wake up, they say, oh, it was a dream. You know, most people at least will not believe that that dream was happening somewhere else. They'll wake up and they'll realize, oh, the dream was happening in me. The only problem with that is that most people, when they wake up, automatically, very quickly, they're again hypnotized and they think, this is me. And so they think the dream was happening in here. They think the dream was happening in this body without recognizing that the actual direct experience is that right now, this body is happening in me the same as the dream was happening in me. It's not that the dream was happening in the body. The body is happening in the same consciousness that the dream was happening in. So I am that consciousness in which this body is and which in the dream is, but not just this body, this whole waking state. So you see, just as in the dream, when we wake up, we say, oh, it was just a dream. It was all happening in here. In the same way, all of this, including this here, is happening here, exclamation point. In the very same way. So when you're dreaming, all of that is happening in your consciousness. There's not some external dream universe. You're not some small character in this dream universe. You are the one who is aware of the dream universe, including the character that you momentarily identify as in the dream because of the hypnosis. In the very same way, here in the waking state, notice it's exactly the same thing. All of this, which through hypnosis we perceive is out there, externalized, and we through hypnosis say this is the real me, but this, the so-called real me, and that, the so-called externalized world out there, they're all known in the same way, through the same faculties. And those faculties are where? Here, exclamation point. Through repeated observation, it's possible to start to recognize that you are always here, and that you start to recognize who it is that's here. So you are the consciousness that's aware. Now, how does this relate to the law of attraction? Okay. Again, remember, it's basically just that what you put your attention on grows and manifests in your experience, in your perception. And I want to explain how that is working, and to explain how that's working, I wanted to point out to you who you are through this exploration of these three states, and pointing out that you are present in all the states, or rather all the states are present in you. You are aware of all the states. You are not the character in the state. You are that which is aware of the state. The states come and go, but you don't. How this relates to the law of attraction is to, if you see that this waking state is the same as in a fundamental sense as the dream state, you see that it's happening in consciousness. It's not happening objectively out there. It's actually happening, and it's not happening in here. It's this, all of this, and all of this is happening in here, in you, in consciousness, which is formless, spaceless, dimensionless, timeless, because all of those things are happening in consciousness. You see, the whole notion, like so in the waking state, all of a sudden the waking state time appears, right? You say, well, there was yesterday, and there's going to be tomorrow, and there's today. So we say that there's this time, but where is that? That's appearing in consciousness. Now, when you're experiencing the dream state, where does this waking state time go? It's not there, right? It's not in the dream state, because in the dream state, there's the dream state time. There's time there, but it's different. There's time because in the dream state, there's still maybe some kind of sequence to things, but it's a different time. So where is that time? The time is in the dream state, which is where? In consciousness. So time is not some objective thing out there that you're subjected to. Rather, time is something that appears in consciousness. So time, space, obviously space, right? Because this whole space, this whole waking state space, the whole universe is appearing in consciousness, the same as the dreaming state universe, and that space exists in that, in consciousness, in the dream state. So space and time are happening in consciousness. They're not outside of consciousness. So everything is happening in consciousness. So the law of attraction, again, what you put your attention on grows and manifests in your experience. But the question is, how is that working? And hopefully I've already answered that. If you just sort of put together the pieces of what I've just explained and pointed out, you can see how the law of attraction is working. Why? Because you are the consciousness in which all of this is appearing. The time, space, objects, all the phenomena, everything is happening in the consciousness that you are. So there's nothing objectively out there that you are subjected to. You don't have to work with those, with some kind of objective limitations. I'm not, by the way, please, I would not recommend anybody go jump off of a tall building expecting that they're going to defy gravity. Please don't do that. Why? Because you don't believe it. You don't believe it sufficiently. So don't do something stupid. But there's nothing outside of you that you are limited by. The limitations exist in you. But if you haven't sufficiently cleared the limitations, then you're subjected to your own limitations. The point is, again, that there's nothing outside of you that is a limitation that you are limited by. So you're working with pure consciousness because that's what you are, and there are no limitations there. From pure consciousness, everything is manifest, right? I mean, you can see in, like, how does a dream appear? It appears out of pure consciousness. You didn't have to, when the dream begins, just appears, right? You didn't have, if there's a palace that appears in your very large, elaborate palace that appears in your dream, you don't have to construct it brick by brick. It just appears. How? Out of pure consciousness. Well, guess what? The same is happening here in the waking state. But we believe in certain limitations. And because we have the beliefs in those limitations, we experience those limitations as if they were real. So whatever, but the principle is, again, whatever you put your attention on, that's what grows, and then it manifests in your experience. In the dream state and in the waking state, clearly, what you put your attention on grows and manifests in your experience. So we want to work with this intelligently. So the first thing is to recognize how it's really working is that all of this is manifest from pure consciousness. So this should remove superstition. When you understand how this is actually working, then you can actually work with it without superstition intelligently and see what's actually going on is that there are no limitations in pure consciousness. You are that pure consciousness. Notice, again, that everything is appearing here out of consciousness. There's nothing else. It's all happening in consciousness. And who are we talking about? You. Not this, but consciousness. And you are that.